Eh. Well, this next reading I want to do from Artie Lange's book, Too Fat to Fish. It's got him on the corner there with the cigarette. Preface written by Howard Stern. Pretty funny. This book is hilarious. It's definitely one of the funniest books I've ever read in my life, man. Just him talking about his life growing up in New Jersey and how ridiculous of a person. I mean, he's a really, really funny guy. He's got a lot of problems, but he's a really funny person. Which probably, the problems probably add to how funny he is. This is one of the funniest books I've definitely ever read in my life. It's so hilarious. Too Fat to Fish. I'm going to read part from the actual title chapter from Too Fat to Fish. I'm not going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start somewhere in the middle here where he talks about an actual fishing trip that his boss, he's working as a longshoreman, and his boss likes to go fishing and wants to take him out on a fishing trip. And so he has to get up in the morning to go. And I'm just going to cut to page 105 here through a lot of stuff and get to him getting ready to go on a fishing trip with his boss. Page 105, down towards the end. Anyway, the night before this fishing trip, I was out with all the guys and my foreman, and by 10 p.m. I was stone drunk off my ass. I had done a little blow that night too, since there was some going around, so I was nowhere close to getting a good night's sleep before the big adventure. That's not what I told the foreman though. When he came up to me, slapped me on the shoulder, said goodbye, and told me he'd be over to pick me up bright and early at 5:30 a.m., I couldn't have been more enthusiastic. Dude, I said, I'll be ready. It's going to be great. All night long I had talked up how much I was ready for it and looking forward to it, assuring him that I was really into fishing. I ended up going out to a go-go bar in Linden, New Jersey called Cheeks, which is pronounced Cheeks, by the way, with my friends Chico and Shecky and another one of the many Mikes. I did not get home until 3 or 3:30 a.m., and when I did I was drunk, high, and covered in cheap lipstick from the many dancers I had paid to kiss me on the cheek. I passed the fuck out in all my clothes, and by the time 5:30 came around, I had barely gotten a nap in and was nowhere close to being sober. I was lying there like a Neanderthal, sweating like a pig with puffy eyes, my hair all over my face and my mouth wide open. The phone must have rung for a few minutes before it woke me up, but when it did, it scared the shit out of me. At first I had no idea where I was. Then I picked up the phone. "You ready to go fishing?" my boss said. "It's 5:30. I'm on my way over." If it had been anyone else in the entire world but my boss, I would have told the guy to fuck off and slept all day. But somewhere in the haze clogging my brain, I remembered the drunken promise I'd made the night before. I cleared my throat, got one eye all the way open, and hoped I sounded more tired than drunk. "Oh yeah, come on over," I said. "I overslept, but I'm ready." "All right, move your ass. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I got up, tried to see through my skull-splitting headache, and made it to the shower. I kind of stood there under the water for a few minutes, then I threw on some sweatpants, brushed my teeth, and took a look in the mirror. It wasn't good at all. I looked like George Clinton when he got busted for crack. The shower hadn't come close to washing away the reek of liquor, and I had the worst bedhead I ever seen on someone who wasn't homeless. For a minute, I wondered if shaving might improve things. "Fuck it," I said, and walked downstairs. Now, because my mother is both a crazy person and an insanely clean Italian woman, she was already up at 5:30 a.m. on a Saturday, vacuuming. As a working woman, my mother never got the chance to vacuum during the week and always had a full schedule of things to get done over the weekend, so she would get up at the crack of dawn on Saturday mornings and start cleaning. It was another reason I liked to get passed out drunk on Friday nights, so I could sleep through the noise. I snuck downstairs, knowing full well that there was no way I was going to make it out of the house on her watch. She had her back to me as I came down the stairs, but she seemed to sense me coming. It wasn't any kind of mother's intuition, given my condition. It was probably just her sense of smell. She is one of those weird people who hate the smell of tequila sweat and stale orange juice. She took one look at me, death warmed over, stopped the vacuum, and stared me down for like a full minute. "Where are you going?" she asked. She looked at me with the utmost suspicion, like I was an intruder in her home. She probably thought I was sneaking out to buy drugs. "I'm going fishing, Ma," I said. "What?" she said, crossing her arms. "What are you doing?" "I'm going fishing, Ma. I got invited by my foreman at the job." "No, you are not, Artie," she said, now glaring at me. "You are not going fishing." "What do you mean I'm not going fishing?" I said. "I got invited fishing. I'm going fishing." I'd like to remind you that I was 23 years old, and until this point, not only had I never gone fishing, I'd never shown an interest in anything that could be considered a hobby besides playing baseball, busting chops, drinking, and doing drugs. "Artie, you are not going fishing!" Panic was creeping into her voice. At the time, I was somewhat heavy, definitely heavier than I was in high school, but svelte compared to how I am now. Still, to my mother, I was much too heavy and out of shape to do anything physical. Fishing isn't exactly running a 5K, but the water in her mind spelled certain death for her son. I could see her wheels spinning, thinking of what she could say to me to keep me from going. "You listen to me, Artie," she said, working herself into a yell that could strip paint from the walls. "You are not going fishing. You are not leaving this house. You are too fat to fish. Do you hear me? You are too fat to fish." Something clicked in my mind. Maybe it was just seeing me looking like that much of a mess, wondering what the hell I was doing to myself at night. Or maybe it was the fear of losing me after losing my father. Whatever it was, to her, in that moment, allowing me to go fishing was like allowing me to walk off a cliff. "Ma, it's my boss. I've gotta go," I tried to reason with her. "He's gonna be here in like 5 minutes. I've gotta get in good with this guy." "I don't give a shit, Artie. You can't swim. You don't like water. You are too fat to fish. I have never seen you do a thing. You have no interests. You have no hobbies. You aren't interested in anything but fooling around. You are not leaving this house. You will drown and die. You are too fat to fish." "Ma, I can swim." "No, you can't." "Ma, you've seen me swim," I yelled. "I swam every year in the ocean down the shore." "I don't care, Artie. You are fat. You will die." She kept on like that for a half an hour straight, and I couldn't get a word in edgewise. "You are going to fall out of the boat and you will drown. Is there even a motor on this boat?" "I don't know, Ma." "You don't know? And you plan on going fishing on this boat? You don't even know how to fish. Tell me, what are you going to catch, Artie?" "I don't know, Ma. Tuna and bluefish?" "No, you won't. You will catch nothing because you're not going, because you're too fat to fish." Whatever other points my mother made about why my plan was so outrageous, she kept returning to the fact that I was too fat to fish. It was like the chorus to an insane song she was singing. She got so worked up and loud that my sister Stacy woke up and lay in her bed hysterically laughing. She got so loud that my next door neighbors woke up and started laughing because all of our windows were open. She just kept screaming the phrase, "too fat to fish." This was a battle that I was not going to win, so I called my foreman and luckily he caught him right before he left his house. "Hey man," I said, "I'm leaving now. What's up?" "Well, I can't go," I said. "This is real embarrassing, but my mother will not let me go fishing with you today." "Oh, come on, fuck you," he started laughing. "That's a good one. I'll be right over." "No, I'm serious, man. She won't let me go." "What are you, 5 years old? You need a note from your ma, Artie?" "Come on, man, you're Italian. You know how Italian mothers can get." He got quiet for a moment. "She's really not letting you go?" When I put it that way, the guy understood what I was saying, but for good measure, I put my mother on the phone. "Artie is not going fishing today. He's not going anywhere on a boat with you because he is too fat to fish and will fall out of the boat. But go have a nice time." Luckily, my mother wasn't the type to embarrass me. I went upstairs, my hangover now infinitely worse after all that yelling, and ran into Stacy, who was about to piss herself laughing. "Do you realize that she screamed at you for like 40 minutes?" she said, doubled over. "What the hell was that? People heard her down the block." "Yeah, I know." I passed out again in my clothes and slept until about 3 p.m. When I woke up, my mother made me a mozzarella omelet and I ate it and was never happier in my life. Then I went back to sleep. That night, over dinner, my sister started laughing again. "Ma, do you realize what you sounded like this morning?" Stacy asked. "I ran into the neighbors and they heard the whole thing and were asking me about it. You just kept screaming that Artie's too fat to fish. Where did you come up with that?" "I don't know," my mother said, half smiling. "I just had to stop him any way I could." "But Ma, do you realize what you sounded like?" It finally dawned on my mother, and when it did, she started laughing. Then I did too, and pretty soon all three of us were sitting there at the table, red-faced, not able to breathe over the fact that she not only made that up on the spot, but forced me to call my boss and tell him, as a 23-year-old man, that I could not go fishing. And then she told the guy herself that I was too fat to fish. The ball breaking started the minute I walked into work Monday, and it never stopped. Keeps going like that. This book is really just about his life and everything. It's hilarious though. The next book, Crash and Burn, is a lot more whiny, still entertaining, but this one is the one to read for sure. Artie Lange's Too Fat to Fish. Check it out.